All right. So my first question, Olivia, is just the idea for baby tooth and where on earth it came from.
It's very like wholesomely born out of my main actress and I, like our friendship,
Mm.
which sort of really came together during production, but she was like an acquaintance of mine, who I knew was a performer, and she wanted to be in like work of mine and would ask me if I had something that she could be in. And I didn't want to like shoehorn her into an existing project. Um, so I wrote Baby Tooth for her. And initially our friendship sort of started because she was really selling her grandfather's speedboat, and I really want a boat ambitiously. So I was like, I think I want your boat. I don't think I can buy your boat, but can I come see it? Uh, and then Baby Tooth is sort of like a psycho-fictionalized version of like that day.
Was there an actual baby tooth that needed pulled? Like, do you have one?
She has one.
Oh,
She
okay.
really does, yeah. Which didn't come up when I was like looking at her boat or anything, but when I wrote like the earliest drafts of Baby Tooth, which was not called Baby Tooth, it was called like Boat Girl, I think. Um, I was like, this is like too basic. I was like, it's missing a twist or and she was like, well, you could rip out my baby tooth. And I was like, excuse me? 'Cause she really does have a baby tooth that needs to be pulled. And she was like, I always kind of want to make like a piece out of it. And I was like, I'm not going to pull your tooth out on camera. She's like, I really want you to do it. I very much vetoed it, but I ran with it as a threat for the film.
Mhm. I'm sad that like the wrap party was not everyone around you as you ripped out the tooth.
We should have. We should have. I'm way too much of a baby though to like see blood.
It's very fun. I watched two shorts back to back. I watched Baby Tooth and then the Hicks Happy Hour. I don't know if you both of them have a tooth coming. Like both of them are centered around a tooth.
Haven't seen that one yet, but I've been
Oh,
reading about it.
it's
That's
great.
amazing. I didn't know that.
Yes. So I was watching them back to back. I was like, what are the odds that the two people that I'm interviewing tomorrow have something about teeth in there?
That's so funny. I have to
Yeah.
like go find her
Yeah.
and talk to her. That's really cool.
So the line, it's such a great line. Are you here for the tooth or the boat? Or the boat or the tooth? I think that's so great. So when does that feel like the crux of the movie to you? Like as much as it kind of feels that way for the viewer, because it is like you know the turn is coming, but we do not.
Yeah, I would say like in a world where this was an expanded feature, like that might be the like inciting incident, the thing that launches you into like the problem and the real story. So to describe it as a crux, yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
Are you thinking about an expanded feature?
Um, not I not when I wrote this. I totally just wrote it as like a one-two punch short.
Mhm.
But while I wrote it, I was or am working on a feature to take place out here in Oregon as well. But Marina's not part of the world of this other movie, but I feel like she deserves more time and space. So there's some things in the works.
I think it would be great if you just did a series of these little ones of various modes of transportation and she still got the baby too.
It's literally come up because Dakota, who plays Marina,
Mhm.
she lives in Portland now, but she is like she's someone, and this happens to me too, where like a lot of like older people just gravitate towards them and talk forever. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
same.
know this experience.
Yes.
Um, and her like neighbor in Portland does this, and he has like taken her on to sell all of his stuff in his house, including a race car, an old race car. And she was just like helping him sell a race car on Facebook Marketplace. And she was telling me about it. And she's like, If this isn't like Baby Tooth 2, I don't know."
That is also wild to conceive of wanting to sell a race car on Facebook Marketplace.
She like secretly took a 15-minute long video of the whole inter of like a lot of the interaction and texted it to me. I'm like, I'm not gonna, okay, maybe I will watch.
So great. I saw your other documentary or your other film, Finding Beast, and I like that both of these have this kind of underlying sense of like absurdity and strangeness. It's like a little off, but like there's such a sweet heart to both of them. So I was curious if you feel like absurdity, like humanity by way of absurdity, is how you kind of feel like your films are heading down that path.
Yeah, I think so. I'm glad that you were able to find a through line because I feel like I've had people see my first work ever as Baby Tooth and they'll be like, "What else can I watch?" I'm like, "You can watch this like slow, wholesome documentary." Um, which I think the like logline for is a lot more absurd than like the delivery of it.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's definitely just my humor. I'm pretty earnest. I'm pretty wholesome, but also uh kind of have like a darker lens on things, I guess, with like sweetness. Like I'm actually just like so nice. It's like annoying. So I'm really glad that that comes through because I think, I mean, I can't even help it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I thought it was quite brave of you to log into your Tumblr account on film. That is crazy.
Uh, yeah, I mean, also like vulnerability is really important to me. Um, because I think like I try to show things that I really want to see of other people. I'm like so curious and definitely go on rabbit holes that I shouldn't, like finding people's Tumblrs. And sometimes I just want to give people permission, and not really be like I'm not the kind of person who goes through my Instagram and deletes all my posts, like my old
Mm,
posts. Like you can go back to 2012.
same. Yeah,
It's there. I'm not gonna delete it. It's not good.
exactly. Maybe that's why I connected so much of it, because you can go back to my Instagram and you can see the horribly filtered stuff of my
Hell yeah.
essence. But like you said, Finding Beast and Baby Tooth just stylistically are like at other ends of the spectrum, you might say. So what was that like in terms of like I don't want to spoil too much of the film, but the part where she's talking about all the features of the boat is like really fun and like such a cool deviation from the rest of it. So can you talk a little bit about finding that style and if you had any difficulties transitioning from doc to this more manufactured style?
Um, well, like all the work I made pre-Finding Beast was straight narrative.
Mm,
I think if anything, I the hard part was transitioning into doc. So I had other doc ideas since Finding Beast that just kept being hard to get into production because it's just hard to get people to agree to do these things. So I was like, fuck it, we're going narrative again. Because there's so much more control and predictability. But so like for Baby Tooth, which is totally narrative, obviously, and
mm,
then there's the sequence within it that is almost its own separate movie.
mm,
Um, like camera's position is different, color is different, her performance is different. I just I wanted to embrace what I knew her as a performer,
mm.
like what her abilities were, which she is mostly an improv dancer.
Oh.
Um, so I was just like did rehearsal with her the day before where I had a shot list with my DP. And when we blocked rehearsal with Dakota and my DP and I looked at each other and we're like, we're throwing away the shot list. Because Dakota would climb up onto the boat and do a split just because she could. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna not, you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to emphasize like she's kind of in her own world
Mm,
and the boat is her stage.
yeah. So can you tell it's two main actors in this, and then you have one who kind of comes in at the very end, but it is basically a two-hander. So can you talk a little bit about them? I think you found the gentleman at a church call? Is that
At a hardware store.
even better?
Uh, yeah, I mean with Dakota, I wrote it for her.
Mhm.
And I don't generally write without someone in mind.
Mhm.
And I did that for his part, which I was like, what have I done? I don't live like previously I've lived in New York and LA where there's like 1 billion people to
Right.
choose from and you can probably whittle down who you need. But now I'm in Southern Oregon and I was like, this could not work. This could not work. But I put out a casting call like through Backstage and all those websites in San Francisco, Seattle, and Portland. Had a bunch of good bites, had video auditions sent. Um, but there's so much of the Pacific Northwest and Oregon spirit that's about supporting local
Hmm.
in a way that like I don't know that I've seen it as much in other communities where like a lot of the beers on tap here are from the local breweries, a lot of the cheeses are from the local cheese like and I really wanted to embrace that spirit and not just be like this city girl who came in with the hot like whatever. So I looked at kind of what the local theater community was like, and every town on the Oregon coast has its own playhouse for the most part, which
Wow.
is like, I don't think that's true for the rest of rural America. Um,
No.
and I don't know if it's because it's raining here half the time, so everyone's like, let's go hide indoors. Um, so I reached out to the playhouses. I made a little flyer, and then I printed out the flyer and I put it at the grocery store, at the hardware store, and booked a day at the theater to hold auditions. And I was there for like X block of time and had a handful of people show up. I had two people in particular that were like knocked it out of the park.
Hmm.
Better than the video auditions from like Portland and San Francisco and stuff, which I was like, what? And they both were like retired SAG actors
Wow.
from Los Angeles who like one moved here basically to be a pot farmer. And just like these old stoner dudes who like
Yeah.
had kind of crazy histories. And like one in particular had like this wild IMDb of like, you were in that? What? Um, and they both would have, I mean, we ended up casting Keith.
Hmm.
The other guy also would have done an amazing job and it would have been a different movie. But Keith had this kind of Big Lebowski energy to him that I think fit more for what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And he saw the flyer at Ace Hardware. He like called me and was like, "I'm on my way." Um, his car broke down on the way to the theater. He called me to let me know. He's like, "But do not leave. I will make it there." And my husband was with me and he was like, "This guy sounds like a mess. I feel like you don't want to rely and design a production around this kind of unpredictable man." I'm like, no, if you look at it, he's making it go right. His
Yeah.
car broke down, but he's coming.
Yeah.
And he like rolled up, sweaty, hair like everywhere, cigarette burns in his shirt. And I sent him the script that morning. He did not read it. He sat on stage, cold read it in front of me, and just knocked it out of the park. And I was like, great, it's Keith Roy.
Yeah.
That's who I was
Awesome.
looking for, I guess.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Last question for you. Tribeca, it's not your premiere, but still extremely exciting to play at Tribeca. Are you gonna attend and what are you excited about to bring to the festival?
Yeah, I'm attending like the latter half of the festival.
Mhm.
Um, because when they called me, I had already had a trip booked during the window of Tribeca, which was like I remember when we booked our trip, I was like, but I could get into Tribeca. I was like, you can't, like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. Um, but I'm psycho and I try to do everything and not cancel things. I'm like, I'll just do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're squeezing in like 3 or 4 days at Tribeca. And because I'm from the tri-state area, that
Hmm.
means it's also chaos and it's like, okay, and I also have to see all of my family. And then an additional layer, I'm pregnant. So my mom was like, and I'll just throw you a baby shower.
Oh,
So I'm like
week
going to
you
like,
have ahead of you.
yeah, yeah. I've got like back-to-back screenings, and then like I'm missing a third screening that they tacked on like last minute. So I'm like, I have my baby shower. Uh, also was like not picturing myself attending Tribeca and like having red carpet pictures of me as like a pregnant person, and I'm just like, what is life? Um, but I'm excited and like scared and uh like just kind of trying to ready myself because people are
Yeah.
like, you should see so and so, or can we go get coffee? And I'm kind of like, no.
I mean, that is that pregnancy is a great excuse. One of my best friends is pregnant. She's always just like, no, I can't. And I'm like, you know what? Who am I to argue with you?
Yeah, it's I'm like someone who, like I said, I'm very nice, and probably if you ask me to do something or see me, I will show up. Even if I'm like, I really don't want to. But now as a pregnant person, I've been like asking for more money from clients. I've been like asking for deals on projects and like saying no because I'm
That's
like, you
awesome.
can't say, come on, you have to.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I thank you so much for taking this time, Olivia. I loved Baby Tooth, and I read up about your feature. So please keep me in the loop for your feature because I'd love to see. It sounds right up my alley based on the other
Thank
two.
you. Gotta send prayers to the investor gods of America.
You're pregnant. You're unstoppable now. I
I
feel.
know. I know. I got a couple more months to ride this wave. Just keep
Exactly.
asking
Make
what I
it
want.
count.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and have fun at Tribeca and your baby shower and your vacation and all the different things.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much for asking great questions and having me.
Absolutely. Talk to you later.
Bye.